This is Creative Queers. This is the second episode, and I am Tay, and I'm here with.
Lirén.
Today we are going to be talking about Lorraine's work and just everything that has inspired them, and yeah, so let's get right into it. So how long have you been writing?
The earliest memory I have is in kindergarten. I was brought up in Spanish immersion school. So from kinder through sixth grade, we were learning things in both Spanish and English. So in kindergarten, we were at 100% Spanish. And then in first grade, we were 90% Spanish, 10% English, all the way up to sixth grade where we were 50-50.
Oh, wow.
And I have this odd memory of writing a little picture book that was like shaped like a fishbowl and writing about me and my friend inside the fishbowl in Spanish. That's, you know, that's what I'm working with. But I have, been writing
Mhm.
like there's no tomorrow pretty much my whole life. I think that even if I didn't want to write, I have no choice. It comes out of me no
Exactly.
matter what.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, so what are your current goals? Where do you see yourself going towards as of right now as a writer?
Yeah. Um, I'm kind of juggling a lot of things at the moment. Obviously, graduate school, but I'm also a writer for a local lesbian magazine called
Okay,
Chapstick Magazine.
nice.
Um, and I'm a submission reviewer for another zine called Hikari Zine. And then we are both doing an internship with Mouthfeel Press.
Mhm.
Um, but outside of that, um, I hope to become a professor at the community college level and write books on the side, just novels of probably romance because guilty, or contemporary women's fiction. But hopefully, if I can get my foot in the door teaching on the community college level, that's what I would like to do.
Yeah. Sounds like you're very busy. You have all these awesome literary things going
And
on.
I have two jobs.
Oh,
I
wow.
had a third one that just ended because it was Spirit Halloween. We're doing it.
Hey, that's great though.
The life of a writer.
Yes. So, what would you say inspires you? Like, what do you find some common themes and topics in your writing?
Queerness the most,
Mhm.
but also my experiences being an autistic person.
Mhm.
I was not diagnosed until I was 19 years old.
Mhm.
So that rocked my world. It completely pulled the rug out from underneath me. And it was really difficult trying to figure out who I was with this new information that gave me context as to all of my behaviors and my life and relationships, my whole life. Um, and so there's a lot of that in my work. The pain of being othered and trying to understand my place in the world, but also a lot about how difficult it is to be a queer person.
Yes. Yeah, that's great though. I'm sorry to hear that you have had to have the inspiration, but it's cool that you do get to have that inspiration,
Yeah.
you know.
And
Uh,
I might as well find something to do with
yeah, exactly.
it.
So, did you want to share some work today?
Yes.
I think we have some poems, so we can start off with.
We have three poems on the docket.
Okay.
I'm going to start with an ekphrastic piece called What the Body Can Say.
Okay.
If anybody listening is unfamiliar with ekphrasis, it just means that the work is based off of a specific image. And you are trying to breathe life into that image by not only describing it for people who aren't looking at it, but also adding meaning to the image, creating a story for it that you maybe aren't fully receiving from the photo or the painting. So this one is based off of a painting. I'm not going to share what painting it is until after I read it.
Okay.
But let me pull this up for you. How does that look? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Readable? Perfect.
Yes.
Alrighty. So, what the body can say. She kneels at the block, feeling the splintered wood under her fingertips, the cold stone digging into her skin at the joint. A disembodied voice jeers from beyond the grasp of her senses. Her shoulders wilted inwards in shame. She fears the moment the noise will dull, when her body will no longer be her own, but she will not beg for mercy. Her mind is her own, and they cannot strip her of that power.
That's
It's a short one.
but it's so strong.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love this. I'm so curious. What painting?
What I want to know if any part of this has put a picture together in your mind. Like, what is your first impressions of what this might be talking about?
I sadly can't say I'm very knowledgeable of a lot of paintings. Um I
Not necessarily the painting, just like the
oh,
action, the event.
the action. So honestly, this sounds like a stretch, but I can't remember the name of this, but the painting where the woman is about to have her head cut off, guillotine.
Yes,
It is?
yes,
Oh my gosh, yes!
yes,
Because I just recently learned about that, and I was like, kneeling at the block, that sounds like
yes, yes. Oh my God, I'm so happy.
okay.
Wonderful. Okay, yes. So the specific painting is of Lady Jane Grey, who was um, decapitated when she was 17 years old. And the painting depicts her with a blindfold. She's wearing a white gown, and she is clearly still a child. She's plump and has a delicate, rounded, innocent body. And she is laying a hand out, trying to find where she's meant to put her head. And there are people watching. There's the executioner who looks miserable because nobody wanted to do this.
Hmm.
This was during the Tudor period.
Hmm.
Um, and Lady Jane Grey was only the queen for a couple of days before they stripped it from her and killed her because they knew that she held power and might be able to take back her position if the people wanted it. Um, so it devastated me, but this is my favorite painting. And I'm
I
honored to bring it to life.
I am so happy you did write about this because, like I said, this is something I recently discovered and it made me cry. It was
Yeah.
just, there is so much story in that
Yeah.
painting, and I'm really happy to see that you brought that to life a little bit.
Yeah. It's actually not the first time I've written about it. I think it's the second poem I've written about that specific painting.
Yeah.
But I definitely like this one more. I think that it is more uh, utilizing the senses and imagery without being able to see that she's feeling and she's hearing things. And it was fun kind of toying with not being able to see or being able to speak for yourself.
And
Um,
I love that you titled it What the Body Can Say because her body in the painting, her actions, her movements, even just in a still painting says so much.
yeah,
And you can hear the jeers. You can hear like almost her own thought process.
yeah,
And I think
yeah.
that
It's an incredibly powerful painting.
yeah. And so is your poem.
Thank you, thank you. Alrighty,
Do you
I am prepared to
yeah.
move on to the next
Okay,
one.
yeah. Okay. What is your
Um,
next poem?
I believe that I'm going to. I want to make sure that I'm not covering it. Okay. Can you still see it okay?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So this one was written inspired by one of Ocean Vuong's poems.
That's my
Um,
favorite poet.
Good for you, because that it's beautiful work. It's beautiful work. And anybody that has the opportunity to read it, wonderful. Um, and so the prompt essentially was to write about someone in your life, dead or alive, who deeply impacted you, someone that you have a very close relationship with, or not necessarily close, but a personal relationship. So I wrote this about my older sister. And I know the title might throw you off because my sister is older than me, and typically the ita is used for someone that is younger or smaller. But that is what my dad has always called her. So it's kind of left the impression in my head.
Yeah.
Um, so this is Hermana Mayita. Maya, 2 degrees, a third on the way. Maya, level headed, a steadiness that calms the room. Maya, desperate to connect, a product of diaspora, a thin scar above her hip, a bursting cyst likened to an orange, a shaved head shifting colors, a fierce passion that evokes envy. Maya, older and wiser, an expectation just out of reach. Maya, loyal and kind, the picture of an eldest daughter.
Wow. That's
Thank
actually so beautiful.
you.
I absolutely love the imagery, but specifically how you play with color. Um, Makes this all the more vivid. Um, and to speak on, as I said, Ocean is my favorite poet, and
Yeah.
he writes a lot about his family and people that are important to him. And I can tell that this is very important to you. She is very important to you. So I want to hear more about why you wrote this.
Yeah. And we don't particularly have as close of a relationship as we used to, just because she has lived in Massachusetts and I'm in San Diego for the last, I think, 4-ish years. And neither one of us are particularly known for phone calls or texting. But we had a few weeks that we spent together this last summer in Puerto Rico visiting family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we had a lot of conversations about the difficulties that she's had with connecting to the culture because um, I was the one that knew Spanish and my sister didn't. And my sister is blonde hair, blue eyes, and I have brown hair. Usually it's blue, but brown hair, brown eyes. I look a whole lot more like my dad, and my sister looks like my mom. And so there's always been a wall preventing her from connecting the way that she wants to. Um, but we discussed this poem with our professor as well, and she pointed out the globular imagery, and it was something that I hadn't done particularly on purpose, but that it worked, and that would be the bursting cyst likened to an orange, and then a shaved head. That both of those are very sort of round. Globular was the word that our professor used.
Yeah.
Um, but that it works. And I was encouraged to play with space more because I'm guilty of writing poems with full sentences. So I'm trying to change the way that things are read and
Yeah.
have a little more fun with it.
I love the line breaks you have. That is my favorite part of poetry, and I think you do it very well here because it creates more meaning to each image, each line, each idea.
I
Um,
got a lot of help with these line breaks. It wasn't all me. I got a lot of help, but that just goes to show sometimes you just need someone else to read your work and to make suggestions.
yes. Do you have anything else you want to add about this?
I don't think so. I think it speaks for itself.
That is very true. So what is your last poem?
My last poem is a ghazal, and that is an Arabic poem.
Okay.
Um, and this specific style of poem um, has been used for years and years and years and years.
Mhm.
Um, and there's a specific um, technique that you're meant to use for this style. Obviously, you don't have to follow it to the T, but there has to be a repeating phrase on the second line of each couplet. So you'll see on this one, it's going to be the words our love. And that is part of the structure. I'm not describing it incredibly well, but if you're more curious about that style, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So this is our love. The greatest fault of humanity has always been love. The years before hidden in the proclaimed sin of our love. Whispers of a fear never truly turn reality. Claws, they cling to a fierce tear in our souls within our love. The moment a spark comes to life and can no longer be under a constant cover, we may begin with our love. Tears dripping on sheets, empty streets, a breeze shakes the stupor. Vivid bursts of bright colors, lost under skin is our love. An argument, a candle toppling to the hard ground, the loss suffered at the cold hands of your kin is our love. I lose myself more in the flash of doubt you breathe to life, a brittle life spent drowning in gin to survive our love.
That is so good. I I absolutely adore how our love changes meaning in every single stanza,
Yeah.
and especially the difference that we get from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, and it's clear that me as the writer, because this is written from my personal experience,
Mhm.
I'm clinging to the love,
Exactly.
even while all of these terrible things are happening and we have all of these obstacles. I'm
Hmm.
holding on so tightly until I know that I'm losing them and that there's nothing I can do. And also, as I was reading, I remembered the other part of the structure. So the second lines of the couplets have to have, obviously, the repeating phrase, but also there has to be a rhyming word. So you see it as sin, and
Oh,
then
I
within,
see.
and then begin, and then skin, and then kin, and then gin. So that is the specific structure of this type of poem.
And I
Um,
think that adds to the musicality of it.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
That's the point, is that
Yeah.
back in the day when they first developed this type of poem, it was meant to be sung.
Yes.
They would write these about love and about loss, and they
Mhm.
were meant to be musical. They were meant to be sung. Um, and I'm really glad that that shines through.
Yeah. So you say it's from a personal experience. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, or are you?
Yeah. So this was written um, as me attempting to deal with a relationship that ended because it is illegal for the other person to be queer in their country.
Mm.
Um, and so I'm processing the prejudice against queer people, the fact that it is a sin, the fact that we're hiding and we're crying and there's losses suffered at the hands of kin. Um,
Right.
and my favorite lines are the tears dripping on sheets, empty streets, a breeze shakes the stupor, that one. But also, I lose myself more in the flash of doubt you breathe to life, because that one is specifically from the experience of clinging to the other person's love, but realizing and feeling through their words and through their behaviors that they are filled with doubt, and knowing that I'm already losing them, that I've already lost them because of this flash of doubt that is in their mind. And again, they are at so much more risk when it comes to
Mhm.
trying this love and trying to make it work.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, this was the only way that I could figure out how to externally process kind of the trauma of this experience of being pulled apart against my will.
I love that so much. I definitely obviously could tell the queerness from
Yeah.
the proclaimed sin of our love.
Mm-hmm.
And I relate to it slightly because my partner and I are different cultures. And so the family thing and the
Yeah.
even though she may be in this country, it is not easy on her because of her culture.
Yeah.
And as we get into harder times, it's not easy on any of us. And and I really respect you for acknowledging that and thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Okay. And then
Fiction time?
fiction time.
Hey.
So I will also be sharing one piece.
Mhm.
And
I
I
think if you
forgot
want,
to,
I'm sorry.
sorry. I was just going to say that I forgot to share that the previous one,
Mhm.
Our Love, won a small contest in a writing community that I'm a part of.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
and so that was really fun. Um, it
Nice.
was
As it
chosen, and I
should.
didn't even know that there was a contest
What?
happening. I had just shared it to share it.
Oh,
So when I found out, I was shocked and delighted, and just it felt really good to have that piece of work that is so emotionally charged and so personal to me
yeah.
be validated by a published author who has a really big platform.
That's
So that was
amazing.
really cool. You were going to say something before I cut you off.
I was just gonna say, if we have the time, you're totally free to read this whole piece because it's not too long.
Okay, yes. I probably can read the whole thing. This one was also published um, in a
Nice.
zine called Velicor Literary. And it was like a 2% accepted rate. And when I found out, it really just reinforced to me that I'm doing the right thing.
That's awesome.
Um, and this one was written for an assignment. But
Oh.
I further developed it on my own. So this is, oh dear, oh, what's the word? A vignette. This is a
Oh,
vignette.
nice.
So it's just, for anyone that's not familiar, it is just a small look into a specific moment in time.
Mhm.
So it is a form of a short story, but it is the vignettes, you're kind of starting the story
Mhm.
in the middle. You're
Yes.
obviously missing context, but that it's done on purpose. And you are just kind of opening a door and peering into these experiences of the characters with no personal investment. Alrighty. We ready?
Yes, I'm
And you can still
eager.
see it okay?
Yes.
I know the text is a little small. All right, so this is The End of Eve. And this is sort of meant to be read with an accent, but I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
But I will just give you the context that these are Southern people.
Okay.
Um, I hadn't stepped foot in my mother's home since before the accident. It was as though there was a wall planted firmly like my mama's ideals, keeping me trapped at the entrance. The warm lighting of the sitting room briefly enveloped me in a feeling that I now know, that I now could never return to again. Dishes stacked on every surface, remnants of food crusted at the bottom. Opie hasn't sorted through the hefty pile of mail by the door, and I clipped it with my foot, toppling the paper advertisements. The dark floorboards, worn as ever, called to me. I stopped for a moment, laying my body down at the end of the couch. I curled my knees up into my torso, taking a few deep breaths. The smell of the living room sent my mind flying back to childhood. Mama used to cut up mangoes for me while I watched cartoons. The juice would drip from my hands onto my lap, an inherently messy snack, but she never got angry with me. She just wiped off my chin and kissed my head, telling me to eat the whole thing. I picked myself up off the ground, saying a final goodbye to the memories flashing through my mind. Opie, Mama's nurse, was waiting for me in the back room. She'd been the one to call. I walked through the house, running my fingertips against the mustard-colored walls as I went. I paused one last time before steeling myself to enter Mama's room. My finger had caught on the edge of an old frame. In the photo, Mama and Miss Lacey are smiling with all their teeth. Miss Lacey is holding up a newborn Charlotte, while Mama hugs her best friend close. Seeing her eyes scrunched up the way she did when she was truly happy made a violent wave of nausea twist deep in my stomach. I fixed the tilted frame and took a deep breath. The moment I entered Mama's room, the empty bed in the corner, unused blankets and pillows folded on top of it, I lost my ability to speak. Opie rushed over, running a hand over my hair as she always did when I was upset. We stayed that way, silent and untethered, until the sun set.
Wow.
That's it. That's the whole thing.
That is so good. That is wow. I mean, it really does feel like a glimpse, right?
Yeah.
But what my favorite thing was is that it was almost like you could feel the nostalgia, and
Mm.
it kind of felt in a way that's like you don't really want to remember those things because even the good things bring out the bad things, and that's kind of what I thought about. Yeah, I just want to hear more about this
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, I really tried to make it so that the sights and the smells
Yes.
force this character to relive these memories almost against their will. Um, this was based off of my abuela and abuelo's house. I have this thing where I'm unable to picture images in my head for most things. It's very difficult for me. But that means that the only house and the only rooms that I'm able to picture are from their home. And that means that every book that I've ever read is set in that house. So I know that house very well in my mind. It exists there and it calls to me. And so for the first time, I wrote about that house. And the experiences of the character are not my own experience, but
Mm.
I did sort of in my head, this person is walking through this home that I know what it looks like. And that I think is what makes it so personal to me, is that I have a unique connection to the environment. And this character also has a unique connection to the environment. And I'm really proud of this one. And I'm not often
Mm.
proud just because, writers were perpetually critical of our own work. Um,
Yeah.
but I knew after I wrote this and after I edited it that it was worth fighting for.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think you should be proud of it. And I think you're right in the sense that I could tell that the personal came through those sensory images because it felt so close. Like it felt you were speaking from the heart.
yeah,
But that is what makes it like you to be able to be in the shoes of your character and therefore make it stronger. Um, and I think that is part of the reason you're proud. And you should be because it's also just so beautiful.
thank you. I love writing vignettes. It's my favorite kind of short story to write because I am so guilty of writing so much narrative exposition. Like I want to give my readers all of the contextual information right
Hmm.
at the start of the story. I
Yeah.
can't help it. It's just because it's what I want when I read things. I'm like, just give me a little bit of info
Yeah.
so that when I go into this, I don't have to think that hard. But I should be thinking. So by writing vignettes, I am taking away that ability to do that exposition. I'm forcing myself to avoid it.
Yeah.
And I think it works. I do.
Oh, I hadn't thought of it that way. That's
Yeah.
nice.
Taking away my freedom of choice with that. Um, but yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. Those were all so beautiful. And if you want to view more of Lauren's work and view where these were published, we will share that information. And yeah, we would love to do more episodes, more talking more about our work, other people's works,
Yeah.
queers everywhere, creative queers.
And
Um,
we are both honored to bring our stories and poems to life with you. It's an incredibly vulnerable thing to share
yeah,
your work, but I think it's worthwhile in the end.
yeah,
Um, and, poetry is meant to be read aloud.
it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing and thank you, everybody. And we will be back.
This
Bye.
has been Creative Queers.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.